Hi guys, my name is Peter from Art of Physio, and in this video I'm going to take you through an exercise routine to really train your intrinsic foot muscles. And your intrinsic foot muscles is basically the muscles that just lie in the foot. So there's also muscles that go from the foot towards the lower leg, and those are not intrinsic. The intrinsic are really the muscles that do the small movements in your toes, with your toes, and in your foot, that are really important for that stabilization during walking, during standing, during anything that you do. When you have any kind of lower body injury, whether it's a knee, a hip, or an ankle issue, I always advise to really take a look at your intrinsic foot muscles to also see how they move, because the stronger they are, the more stable the rest of the whole system is. And especially with knee issues, I've seen in the clinic that the moment we start training this, the knee also improves. Yeah, so let's get into it. Before we start, visualize that you have a triangle here. So you have your big toe, you have your pinky toe, and you have your heel bone, and they are basically your foundation. So we want to keep all those 3 points on the floor during these exercises. And I'm going to show you seated, but you can also do this standing. But just for the sake of this video, I'm going to show you like this. So the first exercise we're going to do is really focused on the toes, to lift them up without taking any pressure off the rest of the foot. So what I'm going to start off with is I'm going to press my 4 toes actively into the floor, and then I'm going to lift up the big toe as high as I can. And really hold it there, and then bring that down, and I'm going to do that again. If this is really hard, what you can do is hold those 4 toes down a little bit while you keep squeezing them, and then pull that big toe, pull it all the way up. There you go. If you see, so I've done this quite a few times, so with me it moves, but it's quite possible that with you, when you start trying this, it's really hard to get a little bit of that movement and going. That's fine, it just needs reps. In a few weeks, if you do this for a few weeks, you will start to recognize some improvement. But this is really to get more in depth and to really be specific about what you do. So if you don't really feel that big toe coming up, what you can do is hold it, so pull it up yourself, and then from there see if you can hold it in that position. Yeah, there, pull it all the way up. That's how you can play around with it. You can also push into it a little bit. That can sometimes help to give you a bit of feedback where to push towards. But that's the big toe. All right, then we go off to the small toes. It's exactly the same. So I'm going to push that big toe into the floor, and I'm going to lift up those other 4 toes. Good. Seeing if I can lift them up higher, higher, higher. There we go. And during this, I'm going to keep that triangle on the floor. So push the big toe in and those small toes up. Also here, if that big toe wants to join, seeing if I can hold it there. Good. That's it. Also here, if you want to help, or if you're having a hard time, help yourself a little bit and then see if you can hold them there. Yeah, this might take a bit of work, but you will be able to get it at some point. But it just needs some practice. All right, so when you're doing either the big toe or the small toe, it's quite possible that you get some cramping in your foot. So what you do then, because cramping is just, your body is not used to it, and with this it's really to find that awareness and to find the contraction. So see if you can bear through it. It's not the nicest feeling, but you can get some cramping right here or some cramping up there, whether you do this one or this one. It really depends on per person, but see if you can bear through the cramping. Yeah, that's what we need. Then what we can also do is extend everything and then just focus on the bending. Yeah, you see this toe wants to join the party a little bit, so I can try to resist that, or just seeing if I can counter that with my head. Then I can do the same thing, keeping the big toe in the air and just bending the small toes. There we go. Then the next move that we're gonna do is we're gonna close the toes together. So without doing that, I do want to be able to keep my toes a bit flat and then pull them together. So if my foot is like this, you can see there's a bit of space in between those toes. And I'm gonna see if I can get a little bit of squeezing motion there. If that's really hard, what I can do is just put a finger or a pen in between there and seeing if I can squeeze that together. I can also do that same thing here. Ooh, that's a bit harder. I can do that same thing here. Yeah, I can also do multiple fingers, but the intent is that we really want to squeeze that together. Good. Squeeze it together. Squeeze it together. I can get it if I concentrate a little bit. All right, now we've done the toes inwards. Yeah, that can take a bit of practice as well. And it's really about being able to contract them together without bending your toes too much. Good. So then there's also the spreading of your toes. Yeah, then you want to bring them up and then seeing if I can bring the pinky toe out and the big toe out as far as I can. And I should be able to see some spreading in between these toes as well. And then relax, so up, squeeze and really spread them out. There you go. Then if this is okay, then you can start to put those toes down as if you play the piano. So spread, put them down, there you go, up. That's it. Okay, so now we've done the majority of the toe stuff. So we have bending, we have extending, we have bending, we have bringing them together and spreading them out. You can do this with varying levels of intensity. For example, so now my knee is directly over my ankle. And what I can do, if I want to make this a bit harder, I bring my knee a bit more forward. So I'm there. I'm going to still push those small toes in the floor, then lift up that big toe. Good. Now I'm going to press the big toe into the floor and extend the other ones. This is just going to make it slightly harder. And I can use more force throughout my entire leg. So I'm going to push my foot more into the floor. I'm going to squeeze my hamstrings. I'm going to squeeze my quads. I'm going to squeeze my calf. And then from there, I'm just going to make it harder and harder and harder. Yeah, same exercises. You go up, you bend, you squeeze them together, and you spread them out. So the next exercise is going to be the toe crunches. And people know that from, hey, you know, move the entire foot and squeeze all those toes together. But seeing if we can isolate the small toes and isolate the big toe. Isolate the small toes, isolate the big toe. And you also feel that when you do that, and seeing if you can grab that tissue, you'll also have a little bit of a tilt in your foot. So the moment you use your big toe more, you move your foot a little bit more inwards. The moment you bend your small toes first, and really seeing if you can bend them like that, then you can see you get a bit of a tilt that way. Yeah, so see if you can really grab those toes and bend your toes. There you go. Then I'm gonna see if I can do it small toes first, and then big toe first. Small toes first, big toes first. Yeah, and this might also take a bit of practice to get, but that's fine. If this is really easy for you, and you're able to pull that towel a little bit easier, then what you can do is put a small weight on the back of the towel that you have to pull against. So that would make it a little bit more hard to do that. The next step that we're gonna do is seeing if we can actively use the muscles in our foot and our ankle to move us through. Because I can make circles like this, and now my feet are relatively not doing much. But what I can also do is contract the muscles here on the front side to pull me forward. Then I'm gonna tilt towards this side. Then I'm gonna move it like that. And I'm gonna make small circles while I'm using a lot of the strength in my foot. So I am initiating the movements through my foot and not through my hips or through my knees. So I initiate it through, so I'm pulling the muscles here now. There you go. Yeah, and it's okay if those toes come off the floor. Okay, reverse the movement, so go the other way. And you should be able to feel that all the muscles in your foot and also now your lower leg are getting worked. And the more lower you go into that squat position, the harder it gets. If you're really flexible, which I am not, then you can go all the way into a full squat position, and then you can do that same thing from here. Yeah, but if that's really hard, most people can do it through here, and I'm really gonna seeing if I can use all the muscles that are in my foot and in my lower leg. And I'm really feeling the muscles work around here in my foot and in my lower leg, really feeling them work the moment I make these movements. And with every rotation, I'm gonna try to make that movement slightly bigger. And even though my toes can come off the floor, I want to keep the integrity of that triangle that I initially talked about. So the big toe, the small toe, and the heel. I want to keep those on the floor. So I'm not going to tilt my foot like that, but I am going to roll over it. There we go. Yes, go the other way. And that's that. And then the next exercise and the last exercise in this video, we're gonna do a forwards lean. And instead of just leaning forward and holding yourself here, seeing if we can push those toes into the floor, keeping that heel on the floor, keeping the triangle intact, and then just lean forward as much as you can while you resist yourself from falling over. And the moment you feel like you're falling over, you just catch and then you relax. So I'm gonna push my toes into the floor, gonna keep that triangle, and then I'm just gonna lean forward, lean in. There we go. And then from there, I can either bring myself more up, but if you want and make the exercise a little bit more intense, then I'm gonna see if I can push myself back into that upright position by using the muscles in my forefoot and my lower leg and my ankle. So I'm gonna lean in. So now my muscles really try to hold me like that. There we go. And then from there, I'm gonna see if I can push myself more into that position. And then from there, do that again. Lean in, lean in, lean in, lean in, lean in, up. And then pushing it back in to help yourself. All right, so now you have quite a few exercises to do. Go out, do them. If there's one particular that you struggle with and other ones are easy, go for the ones that you have a little bit of trouble with, because that's where you're gonna get the most improvement from. But it's good to do them in one go. And once you know how to do them properly, you can do this in 5 or 6 minutes. But it's really, you have to keep on and doing it. And like I said, it can take a few weeks for your feet to really start learning how to do this, but you have to keep on doing it. So the way I do this is when I'm in the shower or when I'm on the couch in the evening watching some television, it's very easy for me to play around with my toes, and I have my socks off anyway or my shoes off, and it's really an easy way of getting more movement in throughout the day. Yeah, so play around with this. If you have any questions, just send me a message and I'll be happy to answer all your questions.